Ngayong umaga, ayan, dahil nga pag-uusapan po natin ang buwan sa kasaysayan, makasama po natin dyan ang ating favorite history teacher, si Sir Rovic Jan Eslao, ang historian ng Ateneo de Zamboanga University at founder ng La Liga Historia Zamboangueña. Sir Rovic, good morning.
At sa lahat ng mga tagapakinig natin sa DXAS.
Ayan, Sir Rovic, kumusta po kayo?
Yun, actually, sorry talaga, no? Marami talaga nangyari. Pero, praise to God, no? We're here today and we're looking forward kasi actually mag-isang taon na po tayo sa ating LSK.
To God be the glory. Ang dali lang ng panahon.
No?
Oo, yun na yun lahat, diba? Tapos, kumbaga kung sa school opening, uulitin natin, pero titingnan
Season
natin.
2?
Yes, so titingnan natin ano yung mga development. Pero, Sir Rovic, bago tayo mag-start, baka may gusto kayong batiin since ito yung first time din natin na magkasama dito sa studio again.
No? So, anyways, good morning to all. Ako like to announce po sa ating mga young people po ng Alliance Youth Philippines. As the District Youth President po, I like to invite everyone sa second Allianza Leadership Summit this coming August 20 to 22 sa A.B. Simpson Alliance School with the theme Recuerdos, Remembering the Faithful, Becoming the Faithful. So actually timing lang siya ate, no? Kasi di ba, buwan ng kasaysayan sa August. So meron kaming leadership summit for leaders, open to all leaders ng Alliance Youth Philippines. Timing kasi ang theme namin Recuerdos, it's Chabacano word for memories. So we would like to bring back our leaders to the identity ng Alliance, specifically on the heritage of the Kamakop, the Christian and Missionary Alliance Churches of the Philippines. So, yun po, please contact your zone and circuit presidents for more information. We have submitted to them our letters of invitation. So, again, calling all youth leaders out there that are members of the Christian and Missionary Alliance Churches of the Philippines, we invite you to our second Alianza Leadership Summit this August. Thank you very much.
Oo, alam mo talaga pag nasa history din yung president.
Nako, yan. Exactly.
Pero maganda po yun.
Actually, yun talaga yung prayer ko for the long time. Actually, itong segment na to was also an answer to that prayer na I can merge my passion and ministry at the same time.
Ayan. At dahil po dyan, ito, pag-uusapan nga natin ang tungkol sa ating history. Magwa 1 year na, no, Sir Rovic, nung na-discuss natin ito. Pero ito, magiging kakaiba ito kasi gusto ko siyang tanungin, ito bang nangyayari ngayon sa ating bansa? No, magwa 1 year na din ata yung issue natin sa flood control, sa politics natin, lalong tumitindi. Oo, may mga nagsasabi dahil lang yan sa politika, kaya may mga impeachment, kaya may mga issue sa flood control. Ito bang mga nangyayari ngayon sa ating bansa, Sir Rovic? Nangyari din po ba yan sa ating kasaysayan? O kaya may connection po ba yan?
Alright. Sige, siguro at balikan din natin yung if you're talking about sa impeachment, of course, hindi bagong impeachment. No? Sa kasaysayan natin sa Pilipinas, ang impeachment first nag-start or nag-attempt nung kay Elpidio Quirino pa, mga 1950s. Pero, ano lang siya, it's I don't know, would say some petty differences lang. For example, Quirino was accused of having a golden arinola. Oh, may ganon. So, meron siyang yung mga detractors niya, mga kalaban niya, yun ang pinoint out sa kanya or ni-accuse siya. But of course, wala yun. Hindi natuloy yung impeachment. And then, nagkaroon pa ng isa, I think, of course, kay Marcos, there were attempts to impeach him. Marcos Sr. Marcos Sr. Pero of course, hindi natuloy. And I would say, yun na nga, if for those who are, of course, ka-age ko, if klaro naman yung age ko, no, I was barely 6 years old. The first impeachment trial, no. Pero for those, again, who are listening, no, just to point out, no, impeachment kasi is a two phases. No? First, impeach any impeachable officer, the president, vice president, members of the Constitutional Commission, justices of the Supreme Court, or the Ombudsman. They can be impeached. by the House of Representatives, no, sa mababang kapulungan,
Yes.
okay? Tapos akit pa yan sa Senado for a trial, no? So a person can be impeached but not necessarily removed from office yet, okay? So pag impeach na, saka pa magta-trial, okay? So sa trial dapat ma-convict siya 2/3 of the Senate, no? So dapat 16 senators or more will vote to convict the person. So once the person is convicted, he or she will be removed from office. So the first impeachment trial that we had, the successful impeachment from the House, was with ERAP in 2000, no? So I was watching the video of GMA News. Very detailed yung ano niya, per day ang kanyang trial. Makita mo talaga yung difference and the build up towards the impeachment trial, kasi to be frank, the trial hindi po siya natapos. Na-cut short siya because of the so-called second envelope. Okay, so my first envelope, my second envelope, kasi sa first envelope nandun hindi daw siya part ng evidence of the original list of evidence. Parang it was a surprise one. So, na-open siya, of course, may mga, I don't know, incriminatory against ERAP. So, that's why in the second envelope, since accordingly, meron daw doon incriminatory na against ERAP, na it will prove na naglustay siya ng pera. Well, again, going to the corruption, it's all about, it's intertwined kasi impeachment and corruption. So, yung kay naman, sa second envelope, hindi pina-open. Naging divisive yun. So, 11 senators voted not to open, 10 senators voted to open. So, 11-10. So, kaya very famous yung sinabi ni Chief Justice Davide, siya man yung nag-preside. The no votes have it. Oh, yun. So, dun after that, nag-walk out yung prosecution panel. Tapos, nag-start na yung mga protest that concluded with EDSA DOS. So that's the time that Estrada was forced out from Malacanang. So in the course of history, that impeachment trial never finished. So ERAP was impeached but never convicted. He was just removed from office by virtue of the People Power Revolution. Yes. So that's when Gloria came in and was sworn in as president 5 days later after the walkout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oo.
Tapos isa pa lang yun, no.
Oo.
The recent impeachment trial that was successful was with Chief Justice
Yes,
Corona.
Corona.
2012. Kasi maalala ko pa yun, ate. I was in college.
2012, before ng yan, Zamboanga City.
Before the siege actually. So it was the talk of the day. I was still college student in Ateneo, taking Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Social Studies. So, syempre, as a Social Studies student, tutok kami sa impeachment. Actually, hindi pa man uso ang streaming services. So, I have to download all YouTube videos ng impeachment. Malala ko pa yun, I have a small laptop, tapos may The Lord is my shepherd pa yan sa front, sa back ng laptop. Tapos, yan, lahat ng impeachment. Pero, lang, bias ako konti kasi ang hindi na-download ko yung kay Miriam Defensor Santiago, yung always sinasabon niya yung mga either ang witness or ang prosecution. So, pero to conclude the trial, that was the successful trial. When I say successful, natapos po yung trial. Na-convict siya. I'm not saying successful ang trial as a conviction, pero what I meant is natapos yung trial. Kasi kay ERAP wala eh.
Wala, people power.
People power yun siya. So with Corona, na-convict po siya.
Natapos talaga ang trial. May conclusion siya.
Yes. So 20 senators voted to convict. 3 voted no. And Miriam is one of the 3 who voted no. So very historic yun siya. So Corona was removed from office. So that was the only impeachment trial so far that was officially concluded. No? Although later on, there were other impeachment attempts. For example, of course, kay Gloria pa lang, balik tayo konti, kay Gloria maraming impeachment complaints. I think every year, kasi bawal man in a year, o one year ban.
Yes.
So, every year yan kay Gloria, after the Hello Garcia scandal, ini-impeach yan siya. Pero never na
Nakakarating ng
nakarating
Senate.
Senate. Yes.
Hanggang HOR lang.
HR lang. Kaya, and then there was in 2011, I think Noynoy Aquino kasi, di ba, on his platform, ano yun? Daang Matuwid, di ba? So, aggressive siya sa impeachments. So, even before kay Corona, actually, meron pa siyang gustong impeach. Si Ombudsman Mercedes Gutierrez. Kasi si Ombudsman Mercedes Gutierrez, appointee ni Gloria. So, parang yun yung gusto niyang i-remove. Pero hindi natuloy din ang impeachment kasi nag-resign si Merceditas. So before pa nag-trial, nag-resign na siya. So wala na. Okay, so moot na 'yun. And yung kay Corona naman din kasi si Corona also another appointee of Gloria as Chief Justice. So parang may, to be honest, so from my observation, it was really a crusade against Gloria, no? So against GMA. So yun yung result, no? Tapos nung kay Duterte, time ni Duterte, there were also attempts, no? Impeaching si VP Lenny. Actually, there were attempts, no? But of course, parang Duterte actually said no. Parang hinadlang niya. Pero meron siyang isa, si COMELEC chairman, Andres Bautista. There was almost a successful attempt, but Andres Bautista resigned. Ganun din nangyari kay Merceditas. So ito din ngayon kay VP Sara. So I would say this is nothing new. Okay? It's part of our democratic process because it's enshrined in the Constitution. But if you ask me as a social studies teacher and as an advocate for a charter change, I would be frank with it. Impeachments are costly, no?
Yes.
Yeah, it takes time, no? It takes time of the people's money, it takes time of the legislators to legislate, no, to make laws. So that's why I advocate for a parliamentary system wherein instead of impeachments, they can just issue a vote of no confidence. So automatic kung wala nang confidence sa person, remove na from office.
Sino mag-vote pag ganyan ang tao?
Well, in the terms of that indirect election. So the people will elect the representatives, and the representatives will elect their prime minister, etc. So just like in UK. So for example, yung kay recently sa UK kasi may bago silang prime minister, si Andy Burnham. Tapos I forgot the prime minister umalis. So he had lost confidence, so he just resigned. So something like that ba. So may delikadesa, no? In our case, I cannot say it's delikadesa din kasi it's really a political circus, no? As I will quote Miriam Defensor Santiago during her time in the impeachment court. The impeachment trial is a quasi-judicial and quasi-political. So when I say quasi is not it is the same but not exactly the same. Parang it's an oxymoron at some point. Parang it looks like one but it's not. So it's political but it should not be, parang half or semi, something like that. So when I say judicial, syempre may rules of court. That's why very very rigid ang impeachment trial. Meron kang prosecution, meron kang defense. So it looks like judicial, right? But it's also quasi-political. So when I say quasi-political, the judges are also checking the pulse of the people. Whether it's popular or not, something to that extent. So impeachment is technically a very unique term, no? So in the case of VP Sara's impeachment trial, again, in the course of our history, it's not new. It's not new. It's and then ito if ipalitan ko from impeachment, hindi din bago na magkaaway ang presidente at ang vice-presidente. Okay. So for the longest time, in the history of our country, vice presidents are technically a spare tire. Okay. So I remember this when I'm not sure what segment yun na mention ko yung spare tire. So the spare tire concept was, kasi iba ang konsepto ng vice president. If we go back pa in history, of course, kopyarol man tayo sa US. So, technically sa US kasi, the office of the vice president was a compromise. When I say a compromise, it was di ba nagde-debate sila. So, parang konsolasyon ba, debobo ang vice president. So, ang vice president sa US, presidente siya ng Senado nila.
Mhm.
Pero sa atin hindi.
Mhm.
We have a separate Senate President. Sa atin, the Vice President may be appointed, let me quote the Constitution, may be appointed as a member of cabinet.
Mhm.
So, for the longest time, same parties lang ang President Vice. So, walang masyadong away. For example, si Quezon pati si Osmeña sa Commonwealth period, si Quezon Presidente, Vice President si Osmeña. Tapos si Osmeña, Secretary of Education.
Mhm.
So, hindi din bago na si VP Sara ang
Galing din doon.
DepEd. Kasi si Osmeña naging, pero hindi pa siya education dati, it's the Department of Public Instruction. Ganun pa yan. Tapos after kay Quezon, si Rojas and Quirino was Secretary of Foreign Affairs. So ganun, may ano siya. Tapos after when Quirino became president, si Fernando Lopez, ang pamilya niya may-ari ng that one big company. Lopez was Secretary of Agriculture. So may mga ganun. So may mga different departments. Si Magsaysay, ang kanyang vice si Carlos Garcia, Secretary of Foreign Affairs din. So pansin mo din may trend din yung Secretary of Foreign Affairs kasi na position is the most prestigious or the most senior rank kasi you're handling external relations. So therefore, yun siya, it's a big deal na position. So it's usually reserved or traditionally reserved for the Vice President, for the longest time. Now here's the thing, after kay Magsaysay, si Garcia, kasi namatay si Magsaysay sa plane crash. Noong nag-election, si Garcia ang presidente, ang Vice President niya from the different party. This is the first time kontrapartido. So si Garcia, nationalista, yung Vice President niya.
So doon nagsimula pala na hindi magkakampi.
Hindi magkakampi. Kasi, basta, it was the first time na different parties. Ang Vice President niya si Diosdado Macapagal from the Liberal Party. Father ni Gloria. Yeah. So, since magkaiba silang partido, hindi siya binigyan ng cabinet position. So, free lang si Macapagal to do yun na nga, there was an offer to Macapagal to switch parties para bigyan siya ng cabinet position which ayaw niya. So, hindi nangyari yun. So, for the longest time, Macapagal, as Vice President, wala siyang cabinet position. So, technically, wala siyang trabaho. Pero ang ginawa niya was, she was campaigning already during his time. That's why in the next election, 1961, siya ang nanalong presidente. So, habang hindi mo siya busy. Wala man siyang cabinet position. Anyway, so when Macapagal came in, ang naging Vice President niya si Emmanuel Pelaez. Secretary of Foreign Affairs din. Pero, in the middle of their term, nag-away sila. So, nag-resign si Pelaez as Secretary of Foreign Affairs. Nag-resign din siya sa Liberal Party. So, nagka-away sila. Kaya the next election, si Pelaez gusto niyang tumakbong presidente, pero natalo siya ni Marcos. Then Marcos ran for president against Macapagal. Marcos won. So, Marcos na presidente. So, ang kanyang vice naman, si Lopez ulit. Yung kanina, si Fernando Lopez. So, 2 beses naging vice. Naging Secretary of Agriculture din siya. Tapos, nawala ang vice president during martial law. Natanggal siya. Walang vice president. Tapos, balik naman tayo. Ito na, after EDSA, ito yung something na I'm sad to talk about. So when Cory became president, ang vice si Salvador Laurel. So si Salvador Laurel, I would say one of the figureheads ng people power ng opposition against Marcos. Nag-away din sila. Dalawa ni Cory. Sabi pa ni Cory parang langaw daw si Doy. So parang nakakamasakit, no?
So hindi first time, Sir Rovic, na unity team and then
Yes, of course. It's a thing. It's a thing. Kaya I would say let's change the system. Kasi the system kasi the system perpetuates it. So I would say kung mag-president, vice president, dapat tandem sila ma-elect. Kasi it also creates a sense of continuity and stability. If ever may mangyari sa presidente, the vice president will just continue the policies.
Ngayon, tandem naman sila nung nagsimula.
Exactly, but they came from different parties. They were just in a coalition. And that also answers, that also reflects the weakness of our political party system. That's why, if I ask me as a reformist, as a political party, dapat strong ang ideology ng political party mo. It should not be based on personalities. Kasi ngayon personality based eh. So like Sara, may brand si Duterte. May brand mga Duterte, may brand itong family to. So it's very personalistic na it tends to not address our problems. Kasi the way we address our problems should be based on policies. So, we vote dapat for the policy, not for the person.
Tama.
Yeah. So, that's something na we have to improve in the system.
So, dapat i-educate yung mga botante.
That's one aspect, voters education, but actually the main problem talaga is the system.
Okay.
So, that's where we have to, So, going back to the vice president. So, again, it's not new na magkaaway tong president and vice president. The only time na hindi magkaaway in the recent time was GMA and Noli. Kasi magkapartido sila or magka-tandem sila. That's between 2004 and 2010. But behind that, time ni Binay naman, nung vice president siya, friends naman sila ni Noynoy. Pero nung palapit ng eleksyon, umalis na si Binay sa So, nagtampa siya kontra. So, may mga ganun ba? And of course, Duterte and Lenny, that's given kasi they're different parties. Although may joke pa yun si Duterte nga, di ba? Parang single si Lenny, mga ganun. So, may mga ganung dynamics. Pero yung ngayon, I would say, it's bound to fail because it was a marriage of convenience between Marcos Jr. and Sara Duterte. So, ngayon, that they're looking Sara as a potential candidate in 2028. So, ganun yung atake, no? So, again, sa ating mga listeners, no, it's history is a thing, no? It's we look back on patterns in history. So, telling you hindi po to bago.
Oo. How about yung mga pananakop? Kasi like ngayon, di ba, ang China,
okay.
kasi talagang inaangkin nila yung West Philippine Sea. Time nung Espanyol ng Amerikano, pinagkaiba po the way na sakupin nila ang mga properties natin.
Okay. So, siguro dyan, balik tayo dun sa Treaty of Westphalia in 1848 na that time, create na yung system of nations. So, when you say system of nations, that's the basis of international relations na kung state ka, walang pakialam ang ibang state sa'yo. Kasi you should have your own sovereignty, no? So, just for our students there, no? So, di ba, we have 4 elements of state. We have the territory, government, people, and sovereignty. So, in the long run, when you say pananakop, in the case of our territories, our basis was the Treaty of Paris in 1898. So yung Spratlys naman, to be specific, technically they're just islands at that time. So hindi pa siya inhabited,
wala pang community.
Kulang ng community kasi it was just a bunch of atolls and islands. Pero as early as 1734, the maps of Spanish of the Spanish government na meron na. It shows that we already claim. So if I would like to invite everyone to check the 1734 Pedro Murillo Velarde map. So actually I think 10 years ago we bought the actual map. Not we bought, a Filipino businessman bought the map in an auction and donated it to the government. So doon pa lang sa map na yun, andun yung Spratlys. Pero maliit siya. So yung 9-dash line ng China does not hold bearing. Kaya we won the arbitral award 10 years ago. So because if you look at the historical maps, walang basis yung 9-dash line. But for in our case, yung territorial aspect natin can be traced pa through history. So again, these are legal battles, right? International law and all, but what helped them? History.
Pero paano tayo lumaban before?
Lumaban
Against
okay.
sa mga Amerikano, sa mga sa Espanyol, at paano din natin to i-apply ngayon sa China? Pero syempre, di ba, medyo delikada.
So I would just say, yung sa China naman, of course, we won the revolution against Spain No? But, dumating kasi mga Amerikano. So, we lost also to the Americans. Tapos, when the Japanese came, naging friends naman tayo with America. So, of course, we lost first, then we won it back. No? So, may mga ganun tayo. So, may mga ups and downs naman tayo. But with China, I would like to invite you to to go to the Korean War. Okay, so the Korean War was a war between North and South Korea in 1950s, no? It was a battle of ideologies between communism and democracy and freedom. So, tayo mga Pinoy, we were already a country then. We were a republic. We sent troops to the Korean War. So, there was this famous battle. There are two battles, if not mistaken. But there is one, Battle of...
Sa South tayo nagpadala or sa
Yes, sa South. So, South Korea was our ally, of course. Siyempre, North Korea it's communist, no? So, si Philippines, we sent troops there to help South Korea. I'm familiar with Battle of Yultong River. Yeah, that was a battle between the kasi yung North Korea patalo na sana. Dumating ang China.
Kakampi nila?
Kakampi nila. Yeah, oo, dumating ang China na reinforce sila. Muntik na matalo ulit ang South. So, there's this one battle, the Battle of Yultong River. I don't know how many, pero konti lang mga Pinoy hold the ground.
Wow.
Yes, against China.
Wow.
Yes, against thousands of Chinese.
Okay.
So, we were able to hold that ground.
Ang gagaling naman ng mga
Ang galing
pinadala
ng mga
natin.
Pinoy. So, sabi ko sa iyo, te, if against China, if based on the bravery of those Filipinos, then we could say we can stand up against the dambuhalang China.
Matatapang naman din talaga yung mga ano natin ngayon.
Yes, of course. Actually, we're ano na lang, our spirits are there, no, for a fight. Pero our weapons and tools needs to be upgraded. So that's something. Doon tayo natatalo. Okay. But for nung sa Korean War, of course, we had the support of the UN, of the United Nations when we had it there. But for now, syempre, yun yung kailangan.
Ano advice nyo? Like ngayon, kung spirit lang ang pag-uusapan?
You know, we're doing it naman. We're upgrading our military. We have new ships. Kasi we're a maritime nation. So we should invest in shipbuilding. And remember, going back to history, our communities are based on maritime affairs, on water. Water or oceans does not separate us, it connects us. So if I invite you, Ate, no, example, cultures are spread not through land but through water. Kasi mas accessible ang water kaysa sa land. Kasi nakakyat ka pa ng bundok, kabila. Unlike water, mag-ano ka lang, magbarko ka lang. So for example, you're familiar with Negros Island, right? Di ba may Negros Occidental, Negros Oriental. What language does Negros Occidental speak?
Ano ba? Ilonggo ba yan?
Ilonggo, right? Because they're facing Iloilo. Pero Negros Oriental, what do they speak?
Ano man?
Cebuano. Because they face Cebu. Yun. They're connected by water. But because Negros Occidental Oriental are divided by the Canlaon volcano, so it's a physical barrier. So more ano siya now. Same. Bakit maraming Cebuano sa Mindanao? Because again, they're connected by water. Dito, Iligan, Del Norte, ganyan. So we're connected. Why are there Chavacano speakers in Isabela? So because Zamboanga and Isabela are connected by water, no? Kaya pansin mo, bakit hindi walang Chavacano sa Deep Tapitan or by substantial population sa Del Norte, although they're called Zamboanga, dapat Chavacano
kasi sa Sibugay.
Exactly, because they're connected by water pa rin.
Pero kung iisipin, dapat mas madali kasi by land. Pero sa bagay kasi mahaba.
Yan na nga. Kasi before, wala pa man roads. We're still building our highways right now.
Mas madali talaga sa
Mas madali sa water. So, I would say, kaya nga, going back to our let's say, our fight against a superpower, we need to invest on our Navy. Our Navy is supposed to be our crowning glory kasi we're a maritime nation. So, if we want to defend ourselves against foreign attacks, then we should invest in our Navy.
Kung meron,
so shout out by the way to all our Navy personnel.
Navy ba si Si Shad or Coast Guard?
Navy.
Navy.
Oh.
Anak
No, even Coast Guard. Yan. Siba?
Oo, hello kay Shadra, kay Cha. Ayan, mga
Yun.
taga dito yan sa DXS. Sir Rovic, sa ating pagtatapos, no, ano kaya yung, kung meron tig-isa na dapat hindi gawin, na nangyari sa nakaraan, at isa na dapat gawin, na dapat gayahin, na dapat i-apply ngayon sa ating present time. Ano po yun? Ano yung nasa kasaysayan na dapat wag na natin yun ulitin, wag nang gawin. Ito naman yung isang bagay na pwedeng ulitin.
Okay. Siguro, as na-mention kanina, no, as I'm a reformist, I am for charter change. Let us be open-minded in changing our charter, our constitution, because the constitution is supposed to reflect the ideals of our nation. And 1987 constitution is what? Almost 40 years old. Never amended.
Oo nga.
Never amended since its creation. So as you can see in the US pa lang, no, the US had 1789 pang constitution, but they had 26 amendments. So it shows you they evolve, no? Pero tayo mahirap because I would say because of history also, it taught us, because when Marcos Sr. had his time, ilang amendments din siya sa constitution niya. So parang may fovea tayo sa charter change. So parang I would like to invite everyone to, study again our constitution. It's not perfect, of course, but I would say it's one of the best, I would say, because the Bill of Rights are there, the family is recognized as a basic institution of the state. So may mga may mga good naman ang 1987 constitution. But the system needs to be changed. So, it can be a parliamentary system or a federal system. So, I think that's where I believe we can stop, by by using our biases, in evaluating such things. But in generic, I would like to connect it also with our ministry as well. So, in terms of our ministry also, like this is what I've been doing in our church. We always go back to where we were, no? That's the reason why yung sasabi ko kanina sa leadership summit namin, I want to invite my young people to go back to our history, to our heritage, because it always goes to our identity. So, if we Filipinos had a identity crisis, we cannot move forward. We need to settle muna our questions, our existential questions, before we can move. Kasi yun na nga, it's like in a vehicle, if you don't know your car, tapos nasira, kasi hindi mo alam saan ang so hindi ka move forward, no? Same also like our nation, our ministries, our church. So we have to, that's why we have the Bible in the first place. Also going back, no? The Bible was there to tell us what happened before, what could have been done better. So it's a call for action for us Christians and for readers, of course, that the Lord has enabled us the power of salvation through the blood of Christ. So it's our decision now what to do, whether to accept it or not. So that's I think an invitation to our listeners.
Ayan, at syempre siguro gusto ko rin pong hingin po ang inyong payo po dahil yung barangay and SK election ay paparating na
October?
sa November 2 actually
pala.
ang
Pati ang BARM parliamentary elections sa October.
So ano po yung payo ninyo para po magkaroon na tayo ng starting today, magkaroon ng
Barangay,
magandang
no?
history, no?
Barangay. Sa bagay, the barangays kasi, if you go back again, mga 1970s or 80s pa lang siya na formally established as a political unit. So, as a reformist also, I would say na to our voters, please vote for a person that's qualified for the position. Kasi the barangay is the frontliner in government services. So, dapat those who are being elected, someone with integrity. Someone with integrity. And if pwede nga, for our Christian voters there, no, we can, and our Christians out there, please also run for office, because kasi may notion kasi na, we don't want to go to politics because it's dirty. and all. But that's the one thing that we can help society. No, salvation, yes, is our present individually, but we can also be the light of Christ in society by also joining politics. So let us not be be afraid to go for it. So also for our young people, for SK, Sangguniang Kabataan, although it's also been ridden with issues of corruption and nepotism, no. Pero I think yun na nga, I also have some students who are SK Kagawads and chairman. So shout out to all of you also out there. Yun, continue with the brand of integrity. That's something na it's a parang currency na siya ngayon. It's something na you can hold a leverage point to our constituents. So yun, to our voters, vote wisely. To our Christian leaders out there, please run for office, that can help our society, our country.
Oo, alam niyo Sir Rovic, ako nag-open din ang mind ko nung sinabi mo nga. Actually na hindi ito ngayon ang first time na narinig kita nagsabi for our Christian friends. Bakit hindi ito tumakbo? Tama naman din talaga. Sino bang inaasahan natin?
Exactly.
'Di ba? Meron tayong Vico Soto na mabuting halimbawa.
That's one, yeah.
Oo. So, bakit nga ba hindi? 'Di ba? Pero kung alam mo din dito ka sa pastoral side, medyo malabo nga talagang siguro pa, no? Pero depende kasi sa calling mo.
Yes, exactly. Correct,
depende sa calling mo. Pero hindi ibig sabihin dogmatic na huwag pag Kristiyano hindi pwedeng
wala naman.
Hindi dapat.
Ang alam ko lang sa amin sa church namin, bawal ang pastor magtakbo. Kung magtakbo man siya, dapat mag-resign siya as pastor. Ganon yun. Pero wala naman bawal ang community or ang church to participate.
Yes.
No?
Okay.
So,
di ba hindi naman natin sinasabi, pero mas maaasahan kasi yung may mga Kristo sa buhay.
Especially disciplined, discipled, ganun.
Tsaka yung integrity given, nandyan talagang makikita natin. Oo. Pero kailangan mo din, kung andyan ka na, mag-iingat ka.
Yun.
Na baka ma-influence ka, imbes ikaw ang maka-influence, ikaw tuloy ang...
So dapat ang eyes niya din on Christ alone.
Yes. Oo. Nako, maraming salamat po. Di ba? Tatlong lang topic, pero ang dami nang na-share. Dapat talaga 1 hour ang program ko sa iyo, Sir Rovic. Oo. Marami pa po tayong pag-uusapan. Sa August po, meron pa po tayo, no?
Yes.
Oo. Abangan nyo po yan kay Sir Rovic. Tatalino kayo pag makikinig tayo sa kanya. So, Sir Rovic, maraming salamat. God bless you po hanggang sa susunod.
Also sa DXS.
Yes.
And to all our listeners.